call to order the regular business meeting of the Board of Education for Monday, June 22nd to order. If I could ask everyone to please stand and recite the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, welcome. Happy second day of summer. Days are now getting shorter.
Not for the pessimism.
The sun hasn't even been out yet.
Okay, so let's start with a roll call.
Stephen Arthur.
Here.
Jim Batson.
Here.
Pat Grudy.
Here.
Scott Luce.
Here.
Karen Lundstedt. Here. Autumn Mauer. Here.
Okay, and I guess we don't have to note that one person's absent because he hasn't been sworn in, correct?
Right, he's officially on the board, but he hasn't been sworn.
Hasn't been sworn in, okay. All right, agenda today, really nothing from the president's report, so we'll have the superintendent's report. We'll open it up for public comment. We will approve the consent vote agenda, which was reviewed earlier this evening, and then brief updates from program and personnel and facilities and finance. Nothing from property, Stephen, correct?
No.
And Cito?
Yes.
Okay, good.
I do have one quick
Small
comment.
IASB. Okay, great. All right, so let's just start right with the superintendent's report.
Okay, thank you, Pat. We have some good news to share. Believe it or not, in the summertime, our students are still very busy. First, although Destination Imagination, or DI, is not an official club at Libertyville High School, 8 students independently formed 2 teams and competed last month at the DI Global Tournament in Knoxville, Tennessee. Along with over 1,400 teams from 45 states and 17 countries, these students presented their solutions to challenges that involve structural engineering, robotics, visual arts, and performance. The team Roll for Initiative, with Mitri Anderson, Jacob Kowski, Jacob Dekelski, Annika McDermott Hinman, Matthew Olson, Adam Sparks, and Curtis Sparks, won first place out of 62 teams in Instant Challenge for the Structural Engineering Challenge and placed 19th for the overall challenge. The team Flying Dragons, with Mitri Anderson, Jacob Kowski, Jacob Dekelski, Alex Dekelski, Annika McDermott Hinman, Adam Sparks, and Curtis Sparks, placed 14th out of 59 teams overall in the technical challenge. So congratulations to those students. And great initiative there as well. 148 Vernon Hills High School international language students were honored at last month's Sugarman Awards. This award is similar to the High A Honor Roll Award and is based on excellent academic achievement as demonstrated on a daily basis, but also in 7 progress grades, the final exam, and semester 1 grades. So that's a good news for this evening. Congratulations to our students. Second, we wanted to take a couple of minutes. We've been updating the board, but we also wanted to update the community. We've all seen and heard that there is a lot of distress in Springfield right now between the legislators and the governor, or the governor and the legislators. As we have the meeting tonight, there has been no budget agreement, and one is not in immediate sight. Seemingly, in the next few days and the next few weeks. What we want to make sure we understand locally what the impact might be on the school district of some of the decisions that might be made. One of the things that has gotten a lot of attention this year is a property tax freeze, which we understand to be a freeze in the rate. And under that scenario, the property tax rates would be frozen, and the only way to raise them in the future would literally be to run a referendum. And while that may sound appealing to all of us as taxpayers in the school district, the problem with that is the main resource for organizations like school districts, park districts, other property taxing bodies. Yasmin Dada and I have done some quick calculations on this over the last few weeks, and roughly if we were frozen at present level, be about $1.5 million a year. Again, you might say, $1.5 million on a $77 million budget, that's not a lot, you should be able to squeeze that out. If that becomes permanent and you multiply times 10, that's now becomes $15 million. And the reality of the situation, as the legislators continue to talk about various tools that they need to use to reduce the budget, that things like the pension cost shift may accompany that, maybe not this year, but in future years. And if you take something like the pension cost shift, what's been suggested in the past is school districts would pick up 0.5% a year of employees, what they call normal pension cost, over 12 years, which would bring us to 6%, which is about the estimate of the state's normal cost for pensions, which we would pick up locally. Again, running some numbers earlier this spring, the run-up for District 128, if we followed that model, would be about $18 million over that 12 years. In addition, it would be about $2.5 million a year each year after it hits 6%. So if we do some quick math on that, if we take the 2.5 times 10 years, there's $25 million. The $18 million run-up cost, which would be 0.5%, then 1%, 1.5%, 2%. And you add those two numbers together, that's pretty significant mathematics there. And then you look at $15 million on a property tax cap. So you can begin to see the cumulative effect. Now, even though we have reserves in District 128, a number of school districts across the state do not, and they live a hand-to-mouth existence to make it work over every year. So part of what we've been trying to communicate with our legislators is it's not necessarily a one-year impact, it's the multi-year impact on school districts, and certainly our school district as well. But you can see in pretty short order that even in a district that has a very healthy tax base, where our taxpayers have been very good to us in the district, we've taken good care of those resources. In pretty short order in that 10-year window, we would have to look at making some pretty significant cuts, looking at programs and probably personnel that go with those cuts. So this is something that we will follow very closely, not only this year, but in future years, as we're looking to bring the state budget back into balance, which we all agree needs to be done. The disagreement right now in Springfield is on the path to get there. And there is likely going to have to be significant compromise from both sides, the governor and the Republicans, and the Democrats who control the House in the Senate moving forward. But we really are in uncharted water in Illinois at this point. So the next few weeks are going to be very important as we roll over fiscal years, and that first day payroll is due in the middle of July. Yes, I don't know if you have anything you want to add to that from your group, from the IASBO group.
No, we've been asking similar questions as to how the property tax freeze is going to be implemented, what is going to be under the freeze, what is going to be outside of the freeze, and how a school district is supposed to handle with existing contracts in place too. One of the things that Governor Rama has talked about is some kind of a relief from current contracts in place, so we don't know if that would actually happen too.
So any questions or comments from the board right now? I think you're reading much of the same material that we are. We're trying to stay in contact with our legislators, and right now, even though there may be some discussion going on behind the scenes, kind of in front of us and in legislative work, it seems to have ground to a halt until we reach a greater compromise. So we will see what the next month or 2 months brings. Okay? All right, next on the agenda for the superintendent's report is we have a donation acknowledgement, and we would like to thank Mr. Sanjin Young. Mr. Young donated $1,000 for ESL class to be used for student scholarships at Vernon Hills High School. So it was a very generous donation. So thank you, Mr. Young. The board will also note that you have we received 2 FOIA requests this month, and they are included in the information that you received this evening. Just a few brief things under other. First of all, as the board will note, based on really some feedback we received from a citizen on the draft minutes that you received of the special board meeting, there was one correction that needed to be made. So the agenda for the special meeting listed the reason for the executive or closed session as the appointment of a person to fill a school board vacancy, 5 ILCS 120/2 C3. But the draft of the minutes that were posted on Friday in the electronic board packet for tonight's meeting stated that a motion and a second to move into executive session at 6:51 p.m. was for the purpose of discussing the purchase of real property 5 ILCS 122C5. This was nothing more than a simple clerical error, which was corrected this morning in the online posting of the agenda and the minutes, or the agenda and the minutes. After consultation with our Councilman Himes, we have corrected the minutes of the open session to accurately reflect the Illinois School Code rationale for moving into closed session as noted on the agenda. Appointment of a person to fill school board vacancy 5 ILCS 122C3. To reiterate, it was correctly stated on the agenda, but incorrectly noted in the draft of the minutes, and now reflected as corrected minutes of the June 1, 2015 special board meeting. So, when the board votes on the consent agenda this evening, they will vote to approve the minutes of the special meeting, and so you will be voting on the correction. And since you have not adopted the minutes, they're just a working form until we get them where we need them, and then you actually vote on it. Okay, just to make that clarification, we want to make sure that we're above board. And then finally, President Grudy, Board Member Luce, Jess Porras, Director of Buildings and Grounds, Mark Koopman. Our two architects will be attending the Village of Libertyville Board of Trustees meeting tomorrow night. They will be voting on an ordinance that we've gone through a process with, which in essence grants seven zoning variances for the Brainerd project. Work that we're going to do, and we will be there to obviously show our support, but also to answer any additional questions that the trustees might have before voting on the actual ordinance. And if that ordinance is passed tomorrow night, then we can work with our team here to begin to move that project forward, which again will be parking space at one end of the east end of the property. We'll have multiple use field space, incorporated by a 6-foot, very attractive ornamental steel fence, powder-coated steel fence, and then there will be some free grass area at the west end of the property. We're very excited to move this along. We do appreciate the opportunity to work with the village on this project and move it forward. So, and we're thankful for our team members who have done a lot of work to get us here, particularly Jess Porras over the last almost year, working with village and county agencies to get us to this point, and certainly our opportunity to present the plan to the trustees. Pat, I don't know if you had anything else you'd like to say about that.
No, I think it's a job well done. The team that was assembled did a fantastic job on all fronts. Thanks for all your hard work.
And the last thing we'll add there, and this is very important, that the board and administration have been for the duration of the Brainerd agreement going back 10 years, and in several revised iterations of that plan or extensions of that plan, to doing an appropriate memorial to Brainerd and the Jackson Gym, and do that in a fiscally responsible way. So as we move, our first priority is move this project forward because we will have students using that field space hopefully when winter breaks next spring. And then right behind that, the board will begin having a conversation about moving forward with a memorial project. And again, Pat, if you want to add anything, you certainly can.
No, sounds good.
Okay?
Okay.
All
Anything
right,
else?
that's it. Thank you.
Okay. Anybody from the public who would wish to speak? Okay, seeing none. Next, let's approve the consent vote agenda. And again, just to clarify, item C then is the corrected minutes.
Yes,
Okay.
correct.
Everybody's clear on that. All right, so can I have a motion to approve the consent vote agenda, please?
So moved.
Second?
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Arthur.
Aye.
Batson.
Aye.
Grudy.
Aye.
Luce.
Aye.
Lundstedt. Aye. Mauer. Aye.
Okay, motion carries. Program and Personnel Committee, Chairperson Mauer.
We just have one item, and that is the approval of 4 educational tour requests. So I'm looking for a motion to approve those.
So
Motion.
moved it.
Okay.
Second.
Second, okay. Any discussion? All right, roll call.
Batson.
Aye.
Grudy.
Aye.
Luce.
Aye.
Lundstedt. Aye. Mauer.
Aye.
Arthur.
Aye.
All right, motion carries.
And that's it.
All right, Facilities and Finance Committee.
Okay, thank you. We have 4 items to vote on here. The first one is the prevailing wage resolution, our annual look at the prevailing wage. Any additional information?
No, just an annual resolution that the board has to adopt, basically stating that all our projects will be done using the prevailing wage scale.
Okay. So can we have a motion, please?
I make a motion that we approve the prevailing wage resolution as presented.
Second.
Any other questions, comments? This was discussed earlier in the committee, so.
We don't have to read the whole thing.
No.
Okay, we have a roll call.
Grudy,
Aye.
Luce,
Aye.
Lundstedt.
Aye.
Mauer,
Aye.
Arthur,
Aye.
Batson.
Aye. Next on the list is the tentative budget and budget calendar.
Once again, we are asking the board to approve a tentative budget for FY16 so we can continue with the district's expenses and pay them accordingly in July, at which time the board will be meeting as a committee to further discuss the budget for FY16. A budget calendar has also been included in your packets, which basically states the process and steps the district takes before it brings the budget to you.
Okay. Have a motion.
So-
Make, go ahead.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, any other comments or questions on the calendar? Okay, we have take a vote on this?
Luce,
Aye.
Lundstedt.
Aye.
Mauer,
Aye.
Arthur,
Aye.
Batson.
Aye.
Grudy.
Aye.
Okay, motion passes. The next one is the resolution calling for the public hearing for the 2016 budget. This is August 10th will be our public hearing date. Any other information?
We do publish the budget on our website. We put a copy of the budget on public display at the administrative offices. And this is just a public hearing for individuals and community members to come and express their opinions, dissatisfaction or satisfaction with the district. And once again, we encourage community members to come to the public hearing.
Okay, so notate that. That's August 10th.
August 10th, and it will be at Libertyville High School in the library.
The library. Okay. And the time on that is?
I'm sorry, it is here, sorry, I
Oh.
take it back.
In the district
We have it here
In the
because of the
district
facilities
office,
there.
August 10th. What was the time on that?
6 o'clock.
6 o'clock, okay. So anyone wants to put that on their calendar, they certainly can do that. So we need a motion to approve that?
Okay, I make a motion that we approve the resolution calling for a public hearing on the 2016 budget.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Lundstedt.
Aye.
Mauer.
Aye.
Arthur,
Aye.
Batson.
Aye.
Grudy,
Aye.
Luce.
Aye.
Okay, and then lastly, we have a bid recommendation for the gymnasium acoustic wall soundproofing, gym wall soundproofing.
At Vernon Hills High School. I'd like the board to reject the base bid and alternates 1 and 2 from New Construction Company in the amount of $227,600 and some dollars. Reason for that is, number one, our estimate of this project was $110,000, and in their statement of values, he put a couple of numbers that were way out of line in our estimation, and you also saw the letter from the architect that the company who did bid didn't follow the specs with the bid bond. So for those reasons, we'd like that to be rejected. We'll go out for bid early February so that we would get good bids and a lot of bids and get that project done right away in June of next year. It's something that needs to be done.
So can we have a motion to reject, if anyone cares to?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, any other further questions, comments by anybody? Okay, roll call please.
Mauer.
Aye.
Arthur,
Aye.
Batson.
Aye.
Grudy.
Aye.
Luce.
Aye.
Lundstedt. Aye.
And anybody have anything for the other part of the agenda for facilities and finance? Okay, hearing none, that completes the facilities and finance.
Thank you very much. All right, no property, CEDAW.
Yes, we had a meeting on the 10th of June, and as most of you recall, CEDAW's in a time of transition. The Lincolnshire and Stevenson districts have withdrawn, as of the end of this month. So they are now gone, and CEDAL is down to 32 member districts, I think. That's the right number.
Sounds about right.
So after having lost Lake Zurich's schools a few years prior, they're adapting to this significant loss and making some changes. And one of those changes is that they have closed down, they have ended their lease with Lake Forest High School and ended the programs that they were providing for the students there, and have handed them off to Connections Academy. They're taking over the programs. It's a privately run company. There's some changes that had to be done with the bond there. They had the bond that was initially issued for a portion of it was for the Sally Potter, so they've redone that and ended up being neutral or even a savings with the way
Some
it's been restructured.
obligations that Lake Forest itself is picking up the school
Yeah.
districts.
So that's all worked out without any loss to anyone. But, they're really trying to figure out how to best serve the students of the CEDAL cooperative with these losses of revenue and losses of students. So so anyway, they did propose the budget for 2015-16 was given, and it's down just under $3 million from last year. And they're expecting, obviously lower revenues. They're working on transferring they need to do some site work on the parking lots are in pretty bad disrepair, so they're going to be moving some money from the education fund, $2 million, and starting that to the O&M and starting that work next summer. And so one of the things that they're doing is they're raising tuition rates as they've done. They did last year, I think, a 5% raise in tuition. This year, they're proposing 3%. And so the way that the district tuition analysis that they gave for our district shows that our tuition estimate will go up about $35,000. But again, I don't think that's just their estimate.
The difference on the number of students.
But one of the
That's
things
not as bad as I thought.
That's not really bad, is it?
So, and I made a copy of this. This is the thing that they're they're proposing for a year from now is to change the structure of how things are paid by districts into 3 different service levels and different payments. And I've got a sheet that outlines all of that for each of you. Basically, service level 3 to, I don't probably have enough for everybody that.
Yeah, we just skip to the board members, that's fine.
So they're looking to go to 3 different service levels and pricing based on that, starting with providing service level 3 to the most severe programs. And you guys can read through this. I assume that I know they've been in touch with a lot of the business managers and administrations of the districts, so I would think that you've been involved in this.
Right, I did
already.
attend a meeting on this as well as the budget a month or so ago.
So this is their, basically the tuition is gonna go up. The districts will pay more the less severe the needs are for the various students. So that those most fragile students will be provided services at a less level than those who maybe the districts can provide on their own. So they're, everybody's brainstorming and working hard to try to make this move forward in a way that best serves the kids, but also, works within the pretty dramatic changes that have gone on in these last few years financially. So,
Challenging.
Yeah. Let's see if there's anything else I wanted to talk about. And again, that's for a year from now. So the budget will be voted on at the next meeting, which is in 3 months, and
Okay. Good job, thanks, Ken. IASB.
Yeah, just a reminder, and I know Denise has sent out a reminder of this, the registration for the Triple-I conference is now open, so if you intend to go, please get that information in by July 1 is, I think, the date that we were looking for. So it's a great conference, Scott. And I don't know if you've had any exposure or any feedback on it. It's a really good conference. It's a joint conference between several organizations, including our Illinois Association of School Boards. I should be getting in the next, I believe they come out in July, the resolutions documents where, as a representative to the Illinois Association of School Boards, I attend a meeting there where we vote on the resolutions. So I'll try to get those out and see if you have any feedback one way or the other, so that if I'm voting for on the entire board's behalf instead of just my own personal thoughts on that. So that's it.
Jeff?
Okay, anything else?
Yeah, before you adjourn, we want to take a minute. We have some world travelers that are back with us in the past few days, so want to take a minute so the community knows that John Gilliam, principal at Vernon Hills High School, Marina Scott, principal at Libertyville High School, Al Fleming, associate superintendent, and Jim Batson, school board member, among others, were part of both an administrative and teacher/student team that just returned from China with a partner school that we have been working with for a number of years. And at our level, we're looking to expand that partnership. So we'll be looking forward probably in August and September for a report out from the adults in the group, and then to also follow up with the students and have them do a report out. But we are most happy that you traveled over and back safely and that you had a great trip. We had the opportunity at district office today to see some of the photos that the official photographer took over there on the China end, and it looks like a fascinating trip. Heard nothing but great things. So welcome back, but we'll be looking forward to hearing more from all of you. I'm sure it was it's kind of another life-changing trip.
Yeah, very much so.
It's great.
It was an honor and privilege. It's really great.
Superb.
And no jet lag, that's great.
Oh, yeah, right.
John's still awake, that's good.
Yeah.
I did pretty good last night,
Well,
Also a nod.
He's
nod.
ready,
Al's
he's
over
been
the
ready for
goes.
about 3 hours.
Okay.
Okay, that's it. Dr. Gurney?
Okay, is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
All in favor? Aye. Good night, everybody.
All right, thanks.